brick scumble next, and we're going to show the bricks now. I'm going through this very fast because I want to show you all the steps and the time that we're given for the class, but you guys take the time you need to do this. And you could go through, you could let it dry, and if there's a spot you don't like, you can even do a little bit more, okay? So work it up, have fun with it, but you don't have to go at the speed I'm going. This is just so you get the understanding of what the process is, okay? So just, you know, and we've got a red and a brown right now that we're going to play with. And then I also have a yellow that we're going to do little pops of color. And this time you want to use rollers to start with. You can also use sponges, but rollers will get you there faster. And then you can have fun with the next step. So.
So right now, how solid are you putting that red on?
I do want to put it on solid enough that it covers most of the gray. But if you have a few holidays, it's not going to be at the end of the world. What I'm trying to do is keep some of the texture from the roller.
Perfect.
So you can, I don't know if you can see it through the camera or not, but I am trying.
You know what? I'm going to zoom in for this.
Sure.
Okay. And so you can take a look at it.
Now I'm stuck in an easel too, so there's parts I'm not going to be able to get as easy. So just know when you're doing yours, you can work around it with brushes too. I just want you to see how it works. And come on, you need to work for me.
Yeah, unfortunately, our little frames are
that's okay.
A little bit on the older side.
Okay, so see what this is doing? So the frame is sticking. Here, there's nothing wrong with it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the red on and use the brown to create the texture, okay? So I'm gonna do pops of red in random spots. And this is how you could have your friend working with you. If you guys are doing this together, you don't have to, but if you do, or if you're ever working in brick together, like again, I'm gonna make the tool work for me. Even if it doesn't work, I'll make it work.
So I kind of zoomed in so you can see how she's got the two colors kind of mixing, but not mixing. So you want it to mix, not blend, because otherwise it just becomes mud. Yeah. And believe me, it's the best thing to do, I think, especially for live theater, is to go back and sit like middle of the house or wherever you and the designer, if you're the scenic charge, decide, because otherwise, and I've been there, I thought it was a gorgeous blend until I saw it from the house and went, oh God, that doesn't work.
Because you don't want spots either. So you want it to blend, but you don't want it to be so blended that it just looks like one color, because then all your hard work is gone.
100%. And if it's for the camera, then you just want to test it well with the camera.
Yeah.
And that's like, usually there's a thing called a camera test, and that's when everyone's going to look at it. And hopefully whatever you painted doesn't moire.
Yeah. Have you told them what moire is?
Not yet, but I'm going to tell them and tell a really self-effacing story of me.
Oh, did you have a thing?
I didn't, but I can't believe it didn't moire.
Oh, okay.
Like,
yeah,
it was. Everyone thought it would. We were ready to cut out half these stripes. It was bad. It was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was your friend that painted that thing. That was her fault. That was my fault. I designed it, but she came in and painted rust.
Oh,
it was for Urban Monk when I was the production designer for that.
Right.
And I was like, Kim can paint it. And then you were like, oh, I can't. And so I can't remember what her name was. But she came
at this point.
And so she painted she painted great, beautiful. But then it was like, oh my God. And it was, but it didn't moire, but it was so, it could have. I can't believe it didn't. Yeah, I'll pull up a production shot when we talk about moire.
Okay. Sometimes, yeah, when you get a pattern, it can, yeah, I've had stuff where they're like, oh, and then, yeah, you're stuck deciding.
With costumes, it's the striped tie that causes the problem.
Yeah.
Here, I'm going to zoom in a little bit on the middle. If you concentrate a little bit, hold on, actually.
Here? What?
Yeah, where your left hand was.
Here.
Because then I can keep the camera where it is and just zoom it in.
Okay.
So here, you can see what she's doing. See that? See how she's using the sponge in conjunction with the roller? So the sponge is going to give texture, but then you're going to kind of soften that texture with the roller. Am I saying what you would?
Mm-hmm. Very much so. And I'm softening because unfortunately, I'm used to TV and film where we really
It's okay.
But you guys, like, again, this is where you can, hopefully you would have done a sample and you can set the sample on your stage, and then you walk back and go, hey, what do I see? What do I not see?
And you might actually, for stuff that's like, for example, let's say you have a bunch of brick and we can only afford to do the stuff that's downstage out of like a vacuum form or some three-dimensional brick, but you have to match the upstage wall. You might actually blend the stuff that's downstage more, like what Kim is doing now, and blend the upstage stuff less, because otherwise it just looks like mud.
Right.
Like kind of the same thing that Jen was talking about with the dimensional product. Like you might do like a really big grain for the timbers that are like 20 feet in the air.
Yeah.
Brick is the same way.
Yeah, if it's really far back, you might want something that's dramatic because it's going to read beautifully for you. So just, again, use it to the purpose that your audience, always remember who your audience is.
What would you say is the biggest amount of brick you painted at one time? Like,
I know, I'm trying to, you know what? It was actually theater. I did a production of, is it Van Helsing? We did a Dracula.
oh,
And that was brick. We did real, and then we did a Man Machi. It was like a season of brick. We did 2 shows back to back, and they were on like a rake stage, and we had different bricks because they were both set in that kind of era. And so one was 3-dimensional that we carved and painted, so we had the 3-dimensionality, and then the other one was flat painted.
Wow.
And we actually used blacklight so that when they went down into the caves and they were in his crypt, stuff glowed, and they had some great special effects for it. So, but that was like whole sets that were different. It was all brick, but it was different styles depending on what was being, because we didn't have to rep them like some theaters do, but they did play one after another. So we were in Brickland for a few weeks, that's for sure.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm just going to try. I'm going to actually leave some stuff bold. Like,
yeah.
It seems weird that you're going to see where the roller mark is, but it really won't read
100%
badly.
Right. A roller mark actually for something like this looks almost like a cast impression.
Yeah.
Which bricks are cast. So.
Just so
oddly, right now it almost looks like where it's that really super dark grout.
Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'm not gonna do where the easel is because I don't want to mess up your easel. But you guys
don't
get the
even
gist
worry about it.
Do you guys want it or do you care? Because I mean, you get the gist of what this is.
Yeah, so we get the gist of what it is. You don't have to. No, we totally understand what you're doing. Don't worry about it.
So we're gonna dry this now,
yeah,
and then we're gonna come back and film us pulling the tape, which is very rewarding, and going on with highlights and shadows.